I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago.
Let me remind you that she harassed this poor woman constantly. And let's not forget that Stephanie would show up to Sherri's work and try to intimidate her. She would become physically violent with Sherri because she isn't getting what she wants. But she doesn't know her. Hello, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you're having a great day. Last video, I made a very unrealistic goal of getting 100 subscribers by December, so I decided to be a little bit more realistic and say 50? If you'd like to help me reach that goal, you know what to do, subscribe down below. Today we'll be discussing Stephanie Lazarus. To start the story, we'll be heading back to the late 70s, early 80s when Stephanie Lazarus was attending UCLA. Stephanie was majoring in political science and sociology, and while attending UCLA, Stephanie met John Ruetten. He was attending UCLA for mechanical engineering. They met through some mutual friends, and Stephanie knew right away that she liked John. Stephanie and John had a lot in common. They were both athletes. Stephanie played basketball and John played baseball. From the outside looking in, some friends would say that Stephanie's affection for John was not mutual. John was a typical university boy. He didn't want to settle down. He wanted to party, have a good time, meet some girls. He didn't want a girlfriend. At some point, John and Stephanie started hooking up. To John, it was just a fling. He was looking for a good time. To Stephanie, her feelings developed a lot stronger, and they continued to grow. Some might say that Stephanie was in it for the long haul. This was more than just a crush for her. She thought that hooking up with John would eventually lead to a relationship. I mean, they would see each other multiple times a month. They'd vacation together, and when hanging out and going on trips, they'd hook up. And this made Stephanie's feelings just intensify. As the years go by, nothing really comes of this relationship. It's more just a situationship. So John graduates in 81 and Stephanie graduates a year later in 82. Lucky for John, he gets a job straight out of university. Stephanie worked briefly at a law firm, I believe it was for 1 year, before she ended up joining the police force. During this time, LAPD were trying to get more women on the force. So Stephanie would go through an 8-week training program, and after she finished that, she graduated to becoming an officer in uniform. During her training and actively on duty, she was telling everyone that she was dating John. All of her coworkers and fellow officers thought that John was her boyfriend, which later on John would deny ever being in an actual relationship with Stephanie. He just said that they would hook up. John eventually met Sherri Rasmussen, who was very successful in her career, and she was a nurse. Sherri was this beautiful, hardworking woman, and John was just smitten. Sherri was able to pull John out of this mess around and have a good time era and really into wanting a serious relationship. Now, John didn't tell Stephanie about Sherri at first. The entire time that John and Stephanie were hooking up, she really thought that she was the only woman. I'm kind of curious if John fed into this alternate reality that Stephanie lived in, where she thought that they were dating. I get the feeling that she thought that they were in love, and I'm just wondering if he was honest with her or if he would, play it off, beat around the bush, sugarcoat things. And if he was honest and she chose to ignore it, that's kind of on her. But if he wasn't being honest with her, then he has some role to play in this. Let's fast forward to John's 25th birthday, when Stephanie would throw him a party. And this is when she would find out about Sherri, because John would bring her as his plus one. So in this moment, not only did she find out that he's dating other people, but that he's technically off the market and in a relationship. After the party, they ended up hanging out, just the three of them, and that's when Stephanie decided she didn't like Sherri. But let's be real, she didn't like Sherri upon meeting her, and that's because she's extremely jealous. Sherri got what Stephanie always wanted, which was John. And because of that, she could never approve of Sherri. Stephanie wanted Sherri gone. Now, as time goes on and in a long-term committed relationship, I would hope that it would lead to an engagement and marriage if that's what you wanted. So when Stephanie found out that John and Sherri were engaged, she just spiraled. Coworkers would say that Stephanie always had a hardened exterior, but after she found out about the engagement, they actually saw her cry. And this was the only time that she really expressed her emotions. Some might say that Stephanie became depressed after this. She was obsessed with John, and clearly her world was just crumbling around her. And she was so fixated on him that she really thought that one day they would end up together. And that just isn't the case. Instead of, picking up the pieces and moving on, She just could not get past this heartbreak. Stephanie's obsession with John was her whole life. So, as any crazy ex would do, she starts harassing Sherri. And the harassment got to a point that it just couldn't be ignored anymore. It led to Sherri approaching John and saying, "You really need to deal with this." John did confront Stephanie, and at that point, Stephanie begged for him to have sex with her one more time. She kept saying, "It'll be the last time. I'll leave you alone after this. Just give me what I want." Now, clearly, John was thinking with the wrong head because he slept with Stephanie. And that's the worst thing you could have done is you literally gave her what she wanted. Now she knows she has you wrapped around her finger. And she also has dirt on you because you cheated on your fiance. So you gave her what she wanted and you're a cheater. You never reward bad behavior. In Stephanie's mind, she's just one. I'm sure Stephanie wanted to have sex with John, but really what she wanted was ammo. And that's what she used this as. So what did she do? Stephanie showed up to Sherri's work. She dressed up all nice, heels, hair, makeup done, the whole 9 yards, and started just screaming at Sherri. She was saying that John is her man, that they had sex, and for Sherri to back off. Leave her man alone. Because John slept with her, in Stephanie's delusional mind, she thinks that he is hers, kind of like it's her property, and that's just, that's weird. But clearly, she's not in a healthy state of mind. I'm sure you can imagine Sherri's confusion in all of this. If I was in her shoes, I'd be assuming that she'd be making this up just to get a rise out of me. She knows that Stephanie thrives on chaos and these reactions. So Sherri goes home after work and confronts John. She says, "This is what Stephanie keeps saying to me." Of course, she doesn't believe it. But John does admit, "Yeah, I did cheat on you." He begs Sherri to forgive him, which eventually Sherri did forgive John. But her forgiveness came with one condition: no more Stephanie. Clear cut. No communication. Clearly, this is not just a friendship and it needs to end. John did not communicate the end of their friendship, situationship, whatever you want to call it, to Stephanie, which obviously because his fiance said, "If you do it one more time, if you talk to her one more time, that's it, we're done." And he didn't want to lose Sherri. You would think it would be obvious to Stephanie after, cheating and approaching Sherri at work and yelling and screaming at her that there would be no further communication between them. I mean, it's pretty obvious, sounds pretty obvious to me. But do you think she got the picture? Because she didn't. John and Sherri would eventually move on from this situation and get married. After the wedding, John moved into Sherri's place and they started getting calls where they would pick it up and then the person on the other line would just hang up. But they knew someone was on the other line because they could hear the breathing. And they knew it was Stephanie. Now remember, Stephanie is a police officer and she uses her uniform to try and intimidate Sherri. She would show up to Sherri's work in her uniform and they would get into a physical altercation. And it ended with people pulling them apart. But they all knew that Stephanie started it. Now that brings us to February 24th, 1986. Stephanie would show up to Sherri's house when she knew that John wasn't home, and she attacked Sherri. It was not a fair fight by any means. Sherri was caught off guard. She was in her nightgown. Sherri was ambushed by Stephanie. She started punching Sherri. She bit her, and then she pulled out her gun and shot Sherri 3 times, and that ended up killing her. John would come home and find his wife, and she was rushed to the hospital, but there was nothing that they could do, and she was pronounced deceased. Sherri's family, John, all of her friends, everybody was telling the police, "Stephanie did this. Stephanie Lazarus is the killer." But somehow she didn't get charged, she didn't get arrested, and she lived freely as a police officer for nearly 2 decades. And that's when the case was reopened. After reviewing the files, the detectives assigned to the cold case wanted to look a little deeper into Stephanie's involvement. Now, back when the murder of Sherri occurred, DNA testing, the technology isn't what it is today. But when the case was reopened, they could finally test the DNA from the bite mark on Sherri. The detectives knew we need to get Stephanie's DNA without her knowing. So they followed her around, waited for her to discard her coffee cup, and that's what they used to test for DNA. Luckily for them, they worked in the same precinct, so they were just right next door to Stephanie. And guess what? It was a match. They knew they had the murderer. They couldn't let Stephanie know right away. They knew they needed just a little bit more. They go up to Stephanie saying, "We need your assistance with this case that we're working on. Can you just meet us in the interrogation room?" And that brings us to the following videos that we're going to watch. Now, it is lengthy. I think we have like 11 clips that we're going to get into. Some might be a little longer than others. Please be patient. I'm telling you now, they're worth the watch. If you didn't think she was guilty before, after watching these clips, you know she is. I'm going to play the first video now.
Stephanie, I don't know if you know my partner.
Hey,
Hi.
great.
Hi.
Stuart, nice to
Yeah,
meet
see
you.
you guys.
How's it going?
Good.
Just milling around. Well, have a seat. What this is I didn't want to bring this up in your squad room. Oh, no, it's fine. I think we're
I just
good.
have to quarter to, let me just turn it off. You're gonna bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, I can
Oh,
explain the whole
okay,
thing
that's
too.
fine.
I don't want to talk about this in the squad room
that's
because
okay.
I don't know who people are listening.
That's true,
And
that's
if we go to
true.
my side, everybody's
You're-
always wondering what everybody
Oh,
else
yeah,
is
sure,
doing.
no problem.
Okay. But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Ruetten?
John Ruetten?
Ruetten.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Do you think them asking about John caught her by surprise? I wish we could see her face. I wish I could be in her mind just to see what's going on, the panic. Further in the video, she does end up sitting back so you can see her face. Unfortunately, I think it's the first two that you can't really. But I can imagine, yeah, when she heard John's name, she panicked internally and it's just. At first, she's like, do I know him? And then corrects them on the pronunciation. And like I said, as the videos go on, you'll see that it gets worse. Let's watch the next clip.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah?
I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's regarding, it's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, you know, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we were good friends, lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Or, oh, okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated, you know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really.
Not really. Stephanie is saying she didn't really know Sherri when we know damn well that she stalked her. She treated Sherri like complete shit, didn't even really give a chance to get to know her because Stephanie was a crazy ex that was obsessed over a fling. Not even a boyfriend, really, not even an ex. It was, I guess, like an ex situationship. Because remember, her and John never actually dated, they weren't in a relationship. Even though she was completely obsessed with John, she plays it off that I didn't really know her. John and I were really good friends, though. She's in the hot seat now, and I'm sure she's feeling a lot of pressure, which I say let her marinate and cook in the chaos that she created. Shall we continue?
I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Uh-huh. Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her.
Stephanie doesn't know if she met Sherri. Maybe she met her. Let me remind you that she harassed this poor woman constantly. And let's not forget that Stephanie would show up to Sherri's work and try to intimidate her. She would become physically violent with Sherri because she isn't getting what she wants. But she doesn't know her. The obsessive stalker doesn't know the victim. Of course, you know. She's got to play it off, right? She's got to be an actor. A terrible one, but, you know. And I think John was really just an object at first to her. But then when John started to see Sherri, she needed to be better than her. She wanted John to choose her when John ended up choosing Sherri. And that was something she couldn't accept. I feel like this was a contest to her and she needed to be the winner. But she lost. And she couldn't handle losing to Sherri. Now, before we continue, I do have to say I did cut down the video quite a bit. She does a lot of babbling about years and she's just trying to throw them off. She babbles about what year she started university, what year he started, what year they graduated, talks about birth when as in like their birth date, talks about when she met her husband, what year that was. And this is her trying to avoid the simple questions that they're asking. And that's because when you're guilty, these questions just aren't as simple. Let's continue.
Geez, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, well, are you guys, is this something, I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art and how you guys are,
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie, here's the situation. Is basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting supplies.
Okay, I mean,
so we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff to start.
That's fine. I mean,
so we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in just a confidential place where where your business isn't out there for other people in your division to know about.
God, that's been a million years ago.
They're building great rapport with her and building that trust. And she's falling for it. She's eating it up. But their tactics, I'm sure, is something that she also learned in training. Maybe when, you're panicking and you're in over your head, all of that just goes out the window. When your crime is really brought to the light. Okay, so that's going to bring us to the next one.
What year is it now? 2009? I mean, I graduated in 82. 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you, roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I knew his parents. I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge. His sister had spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez.
The detectives are asking a very simple question. How long, approximately, did you date John? The answer? Not so simple. She doesn't even answer the question. All she does is ramble on about the family. Oh, I know his parents, his brother, the sister stayed at my house, I stayed at John's house, John probably stayed at my house. Ma'am, just answer the question. You just can't get a straight answer out of this woman. Okay, so now on to the next clip.
We had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you haven't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh.
Stephanie would call John in Sherri's house nonstop. Remember, it's reported that they would pick up and she would just hang up. They knew it was Stephanie, but she's saying he called me. He may have called her once or twice before she got married. She's leaving out a lot of call history, on her end. Then she seeks sympathy for losing her house in the earthquake, which, obviously is very devastating. But what does that have to do with this case? She can remember all of these years and dates that she did this and this, but she can't remember if she met Sherri. The amount of topic changing, avoiding questions, it's just textbook deflection. And as a police officer herself, I'm surprised that she's doing so terrible in the interview. Let's watch the next one.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or? Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. I can't remember how he said he met her. Yeah, I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding, you know?
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding. I couldn't even tell you what year he got married.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it's been a million years ago.
Yep.
Again, I mean, what, you know, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
One thing I know for certain is that she's never forgotten Sherri's name, first and last. And I wouldn't be surprised if she even knows the date that they got married with the way that she just, names off all of these years that all of these events happened in her life. Because to her, that marriage is huge. It might even be bigger to her in her life than her own marriage to her own husband. She's a bad liar. She's a terrible actress. At least she admits that she knew, or she thinks that Sherri was a nurse, but she showed up to her work, so yeah, you know that. And the coldness in Stephanie's eyes when she said that she knew Sherri was murdered, she just turns to them and goes, I know she was murdered. Ma'am. She scares me. It feels like she's cosplaying as someone that has feelings. Moving on.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. I don't remember how I heard. I mean, I don't even remember what year it was.
And you think you said you thought his wife was a nurse. Do you have any idea where she was working at the time, or did he ever mention that to you? Was it a hospital or a doctor's office?
I'm sure he must have mentioned it. Now that you're bringing that up, I think she worked at a hospital somewhere. And yeah, I may have met her at a hospital. I may have talked to her once or twice.
At a hospital?
Or more. You know.
But being that you were kind of used to see John, you know, was everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. You know, geez, how many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
Maybe someone called Stephanie. Maybe it was a poster from work. Who knows? And then she says, well, that's how I knew about it. It was from a poster at work. So which is it? You'd think you'd remember hearing about someone's wife passing away, especially someone that you were so close to. And she just keeps going back and forth from, I don't know if I talked to her, to I might have talked to her, to she's a nurse that works at a hospital and I may have talked to her there. I may have spoken to her once or twice. And then back to, I can't remember if we even had a conversation. Which is it, Stephanie? I think Stephanie bringing up John's apartment at the end was a slip up. And the detectives just used that to get more information and dig their claws deeper into her. Okay, so we're going to look at another clip. I swear there's only 4 more to go, but it's worth the watch, so do not click off. Okay, let's watch it.
Where was his apartment?
On Roscoe.
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and east or west of DeSoto. Either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know, or?
I'm sure he did.
Did you know where he was living, or?
Somewhere in the valley.
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No? Never went out to, get together, dinners, anything of that nature?
No, right? She can't ever remember going to John and Sherri's house, the place she brutally murdered this innocent woman. Sherri to her was more than just John's wife. It was her rival. Remember, she couldn't stand to lose.
Do you know what the circumstances were regarding her death?
Geez, let me think back. Geez, I don't know if it was, if it was a burglary or something. Yeah, it's been so many years. I can faintly think that I may have saw a flyer.
Yeah.
That's why I say, if somebody had called me, I may not have known what her last name was. I may have. I mean, maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Do you remember her first name?
Shelly, Sherri, I don't know, something maybe, you know.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, yeah, I may have, you know, I'm thinking back now, you guys are bringing up all these old memories. I'm thinking that, because, I mean, we would date, he would date other people, I would date other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, at one point, I mean, he may have been dating her, or I don't know, maybe he was married, I don't even remember. And I'm like, you know what, why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame.
Sherri lived rent-free in Stephanie's head for years. It wouldn't surprise me if she still thought about her crime up to the day of this interview. Who knows, maybe even to today. Pretending to not know her name. Again, it's etched into her mind. And remember, there's so many reports of how she terrorized Sherri. Stephanie then is trying to accuse John of always being the one to contact her. He called her a couple times even though he was engaged or married or whatever, and she's trying to say that it wasn't her. Stephanie accusing John of contacting her when we know that she begged John to have sex with her. Which, first off, that's pathetic. Second, John's still an asshole for sleeping with her. And third, we know, and the detectives know, they have the truth. They know that Stephanie's guilty. But Stephanie obviously has no idea, and she thinks that she can just talk her way out of this. Let's continue.
And when you say that you may have, you know, that you talked to his wife, said, hey, or, you know, I don't know if it was, I guess it wasn't his wife at that time, girlfriend or whatever. And
yeah, I don't know if it was his wife or his girl.
Right.
I mean, quite honestly, I don't even remember.
When you said, like, hey, you know, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you, I mean, was that civil? Was there, I mean,
oh, yeah, no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. If the conversation lasted a few minutes, I can't even remember. And what is it like, you know, we went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no, like, arguments or fights
I don't think
it didn't
so.
get heated or anything like
Not that I recall, no. I mean, I would think that would stand out, I would think. Now, again, that's not standing out in my mind. You know.
So you didn't have any problems with her then?
She remembers so much, but also like nothing. In her delusional turn of events, she politely approached Sherri. She wanted just to tell Sherri that John was contacting her. You know, she's a real girl's girl, looking out for a fellow girly when we all know in actuality, all she did was cause wreckage and mayhem in this couple's life. Now again, John, I believe, does have a part to blame. Maybe leading Stephanie on, you know, continuing to sleep with her, even though it was just one more time during his relationship. But Stephanie was the one that did the murder. You let me know what you think about that. So the first investigation was completely botched. So she probably didn't even know that they had all of these reports on her with everyone pointing to her. Her abusive tendencies were documented. How she treated Sherri was written out black and white. Sherri's friends and family would confirm that Stephanie would not only show up to Sherri's work in uniform to intimidate her, but that she would also show up to John and Sherri's house. But Stephanie, of course, cannot remember that. What she does remember is that her gun was stolen in one of, I think she said like 7 times that her car was broken into. She reported it missing, but she was never notified if it was found, which means it was never found. So now we're going to watch the final clip. This one's a little longer. Please bear with me because it is important and really the best clip, in my opinion, because we get to see her get arrested. Let's watch it now.
As they processed everything, they did the best they could at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with, you know, with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, you know, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this? You know,
You don't have to. I mean, you know,
I'm just-
you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no,
you
oh,
don't,
I know, but
I mean, you know, you're not under arrest. You can walk out
you
whenever
can leave
feel
whenever
like.
you like.
well,
Detectives did what they could at that time on the crime scene, okay? And the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. I go, but now we're looking at everything else on the case, because nobody was ever arrested on the case. If we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
maybe. Now,
Yeah, because
now
now.
I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong, you're right, I have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this, because now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me. And I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
well,
That's...
okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I... This is insane.
Okay. Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes,
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
yes,
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Stephanie finally realizes how much she's drowning. She starts bringing up lawyers. I love the part that she said, I wish I recorded it. Guess what, honey? It's recorded. And the best part is when she, she's free to leave. So she walks out. You see the officer tail her and they bring her back in arrested. And shockingly, she's surprised that she got caught. But finally, some justice is going to be served for the murder of Sherri. In 2012, Stephanie was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 29 years in prison. Stephanie was eligible for parole in 2023, and this is after the state of California passed a new law giving special consideration to offenders who had committed their crimes before the age of 26. And Stephanie committed her crime when she was 25. She was denied that initial parole in 2023 and was denied again this year in 2025. Currently, Stephanie is still in prison where she should be, and it's scary how long she got away with this. And scary to think that if these detectives didn't go through all of the files again and really analyze the information, where would we be today? Would Stephanie be free? Luckily, DNA was found at the scene and really kept safely as evidence where they could use it to get justice for Sherri. Let me know what you think down below. Again, help me reach that goal of 50 subscribers by December. Subscribe down below. That's all I have for you today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.